How you
Walter,
doing?
hi.
Hi, Jonathan. How you doing?
Doing great, doing great. How are you?
Doing great as well. Staying busy. It seems like
Great.
that has been the past couple of weeks, but glad we're able to get a hold of you today. Um,
Yes, yes.
how's everything been?
It's been great. It's been great. Cannot complain. Especially, near the holidays when we get together with family. So it's good. Always
That's good.
good.
That's good. You're
Yeah.
still at Amazon, I believe, since the last time we talked.
Yeah. It's seasonal, so it ends in January, but that's just to keep me busy.
No,
Uh, so yeah, it's
great.
a
Just
lot of hustling, bustling at Amazon.
yeah, it's again the season
Yeah,
packages.
yeah,
So I
right.
bet it's pretty intense over there. But
Yep,
for the most part, just want to say that I know the process itself for the GM role that we've kind of been going
yes,
back and forth for a couple of weeks now. Um, that's kind of what we wanted to talk to you. I know you had the meeting with Chuck.
yes,
So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that because I just want to confirm. I'm not sure if you have some time allowed for this call today.
yes. Okay, yeah,
Great. Right. So that's kind of the purpose. I wanted to go ahead and just kind of follow up with you regarding the interview for the role, and
yes.
I wanted to kind of just ask you to kind of get your feedback. What do you think went well in that interview?
I think there was rapport. I think there was like connection, synergy. What made it out to be like, I think a regular interview would be maybe 30 minutes or so, 45, maybe pushing up 1 hour. Um, the meeting lasted 2 hours. So, there's a lot of talk and connection. We spoke more than, the very general principle of general manager role of what they needed. We spoke a lot more into like personal, like my experience, their experience, experience with their competition, in terms of marketing, sales, previous people who have held the roles, what has happened in the past, and just basically what they want for the company to be in the next year or so, and expanding more territory. So, in that terms, it was great. I thought a connection. There wasn't nothing that I could say was a negative quality. I told them, I appreciate your transparency. And I'm pretty sure they appreciate my transparency as well. That's why the meeting lasted 2 hours.
No, and that's good in regards to kind of able to
Yes,
have that like you said, just being in the same synergy of knowing that you talked
yes,
about previous roles that kind of aligned with it,
yes,
what they were looking at. So not
yes,
just what happened in the past, but the vision.
right.
So that's good to
Yes,
hear.
yes,
Um,
yes.
Overall, how did that kind of make you feel? Once you kind of went, lasted 2 hours and talked a lot about outside of work.
It's it's great. To be honest, those are my favorite type of interviews. Is that when we get personable, especially for a small business, um, it's that personable because they're my bosses, right? Or they're my future bosses or prospective bosses. So it's great to feel that connection. Um, and again, for them to be transparent, and that's starting off with the right set of foot and the right expectations of what they need for this person in this role. And I appreciate that. So,
Yeah,
in terms of bad, there's not one thing that I could say is bad. Yeah, I cannot. No,
good,
not for
good,
this interview.
good. And we understand in regards to kind of going into it, interviews themselves can kind of be in a way we kind of get nervous in the sense of
Sure.
kind of going into it, but it's all kind of how you prepared. And I think since we had a
Yep.
couple conversations, not just from the phone interview, but even after the Zoom interview, got
Yes.
a chance to kind of
Yes.
get to know you. And I know that was one of the key things that Chuck wanted to go ahead and he asked me when it came to finding someone
Right.
for the role. Remember, we said somebody personable,
Right.
someone that kind of aligns with the values. But for the most
Yeah.
part, since he is going to, traveling, to Oakland, and he's not going to be there,
Sure.
so he wants to have that trust. knowing that he's going to leave the business, to the GM to run the day-to-day operation, of course, with the assistance of the other supervisors or managers. But that was going to be key. So with that being said, I'll tell you a little about kind of what Chuck mentioned. He did say wanted to give positive feedback. He did feel that there was some kind of connection in regards to from your previous roles. He liked the fact that you mentioned a couple ideas of where you were innovative. Kind of think outside the box mentality. Wanting to grow. That's one of the things that's been that you wanted to kind of proceed in that. Looking for kind of that long term, looking for something where you can kind of create your own stability and longevity. With that being said, one of the things that I guess I could say for feedback. And this is what I was going to ask. I don't know if it was at some point during the interview you showed a little bit of. Would you say you were kind of nervous at some point?
No, not at all. I mean, at interviews now that I'm seasoned in the last 1 or 2 months, I wouldn't say that I was nervous one bit. Now, there was sort of pauses, because, we went on to so I would say one thing. In terms of culture, when I told them, like, one of the things that gets me up every single morning, and I repeated it, is the culture, is giving back to the employees, giving back to the staff, giving back to the organization. And that's what I'm there for, to become a servant leader to the organization and employees. So, at that point, from her, there was a report every single time. From Chuck, at one point there was like pauses, like he didn't really, that's not a point that he really was looking for or didn't really like. That's what I received in terms of like the sort of non-verbal communication. Now, but there wasn't nervous, to sort of speak. Again, I like to be personable for small business, and I speak volumes in terms of my professional and personal experiences, and that's why maybe I would get off tangent for a small business. I wouldn't do so much in a corporate business. I would just be straight to the point. This is what you guys are looking for. This is what I have, and this is, how we connect. Now, again, I wouldn't. Going back, I didn't feel nervous at all, but he might have felt that maybe.
And it just Chuck's demeanor. He's very, I kind of say, just doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. He's just going to be kind of very eccentric. Even when I've had my conversations with him, I'm asking him in regards to kind of, things on the role itself, or just kind of having conversation, and it's very, the demeanor kind of stays straight. It doesn't go, it doesn't have wide of a range. So I can kind of see that. And it was just kind of something that he felt that there was a lot of things that aligned. He just wanted me to ask a couple of things in regards to how would you feel in regards to when you asked, or I don't know when he asked you, when you went over monthly goals, quarterly goals, closing ratio. Was that something that you guys spoke about?
I did. He didn't. I did. And the way that I present that is when I look at quotas, KPIs, OKRs, implementation and execution, my point of view is through a holistic lens. So I like to speak on a qualitative and quantitative, so numerical, but also have a dialogue with our managers and supervisors and also bosses. What is it that you want to implement? What do you see a vision for, precision garage stores? What do you guys see in 5 years? And he did tell me, I want to see more offices, currently our San Marcos office has more margins than our current Monterey Park office. So that's what I want to see. And I said, perfect. That's, and that's when I thought about metrics. So I'm very quantitative. I'm a finance guy, so but I also like holistic. I like to speak to people, to our supervisors, our staff, and I want to see their input, because like I told Chuck, there might be some things that we might not be able to see in what the numbers are telling us, but they are, because they're there every day, right? So that's how I presented it to Chuck, and the same thing, vice versa. If our production staff, for example, tells us something, but the numbers are telling us something different, then we got to make sure that that we find out the root cause of where that deviation is at, where the variation is at, and our numbers are able to tell the story, but also our work staff is able to tell another story. So how do we synergize that? And that's how we, implement and execute like rational strategic decisions, especially KPIs. For instance, again, he brings up that I want to open more offices. I want more margins for Monterey Park. Why is San Marcos doing lesser? And I told him, it's feasible, very feasible, right? And we got to look at costs. We got to look at marketing, because he did say about marketing. He wastes a lot of money in marketing, and sometimes the money that he puts in marketing is not profiting enough in terms of margins. So I said, okay, great. Thanks for telling me that.
No, that's good. I was able to kind of share that his vision, and of course wants to kind of be able to kind of see what input would you be able to provide for that. And like I mentioned before, in the sense, Chuck was just kind of being more of wanting to check, kind of see on the analytical side to see how you would think. But overall, it was a positive interview, like you mentioned.
Awesome.
Just like I said, the only feedback was just he did kind of mention, say, well, maybe could have showed a little bit, maybe nervousness, not, I guess, kind of saying in in a sense of not knowing that you'd be able to complete the job. No, he feels comfortable based on your history. With that being said, he asked me to see if I could follow up with you for you to come back for, I guess it'd be one more in-person interview just to kind of talk to you this Thursday. What does your schedule look like? It's, give me 1 second, I believe he said 11 a.m. So around this time, 11 a.m. in person with Chuck again.
Perfect. Perfect time, perfect date, yes.
Great. So I'll go ahead and follow back up with him. Just because I guess the best way to kind of prepare you from is what you went over with last time. I think he'll just want to ask you a little bit more on, if you didn't already, the details on how you were involved from your previous roles, and just kind of on growing, like you said, and then also probably talk a little bit more on the marketing.
Awesome.
And then,
I will do.
Anything else that you would feel that could contribute in regards to kind of going to the interview?
I will do that, Walter. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate your feedback. Feedback's good. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes. And again, it's one of the things that I know with Chuck, he wanted to find someone, certain qualities that you do possess. And that's why he asked me. He's like, you know what? He'll ask you a couple more questions on this interview. I'm not sure if it's going to be the full 2 hours, but because I know he's actually catching a flight on Friday. That's why we asked for this Thursday.
Got it.
But what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to send you the same thing as before. I'll put on your calendar invite, the physical location, just kind of put the address as well. And then the best thing I can say, just advice is just kind of the way you went about it this time. Be confident, and it's the way you answered your questions, is kind of being assertive and direct was very key. So with that being said, Jonathan, I want to wish you, of course, the best of luck again this time with Chuck again. And if you have any questions at this point,
will do. Reach out to you.
Great. Yes. Yes.
Thank you so
Reach
much,
out to me.
Walter.
No, you're welcome. I'll send out that calendar invite right now in a couple minutes.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there. Enjoy the rest of your
We'll
day,
talk
John.
soon. Thank you too,
Okay.
Walter. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Bye.